today we're going to be talking about, oh, thanks, Nicole. Totally forgot. You'd think on the third time I would remember to record a session. But today we're going to be talking about building school community from a distance and how you can do that as a teacher, a school leader, and whatever your position may be. But let's go ahead and start with some introductions. My name is Brad Streffler. My email address is up there in case you would like to email any additional questions later on. I am the digital instructional coach at Bridgewater Middle School, which is over in the west side of Orange County. And I have recently come to be known as that YouTube guy. Seems to be a name that has been used for me a handful of times. So my YouTube videos are available to all teachers for step-by-step guides on how to do various different tools that are part of the distance learning platform. So the link there is at the bottom of the slideshow, and I'll put it in the chat at the end. The tutorials are really designed to help you with the basic tools and the basic things that you're doing in a digital learning environment. So when I was asked if I wanted to present a session for the district, I thought that my tool sessions are already available online, so I wanted to do something a little bit different. And another major passion for me and our team at Bridgewater is working on supporting our teachers and making them both actually supported as well as feel supported and recognize them for their hard work and building this sense of community. Our principal, Andrew Jackson, uses the phrase #better together, and he also uses #relationship goals. And relationship goals has been our school vision and school mission for the last couple of years now. So as we've entered this digital learning and distance learning environment, a lot of thought and effort has gone into the social emotional learning needs of our students, and I want to make sure that people are doing the same for our teachers as well. So I put together this whole session, and that's what we'll be talking about today. So we'll go over sort of where to start, some ways to maintain some normalcy in your schools, and also some new things you might want to try. And I do want to say that I geared this towards school leaders, and I think it's important to note that if you've ever listened to Leader of Learning podcast by my friend Dan Kreines, he will tell you that anyone can be a leader on a campus, no matter what your title may be. So I think it's important to keep that in mind, but also the strategies and tools and ideas I talk about in here are applicable to the classroom environment and building your classroom community as well. So regardless of your position, I think the information in here can be valuable. Oh, and I just saw your comment, Rachel. Thank you. I'm glad they help out. I'm trying to get the information out there. So, as for where to start, when you're thinking about building school community from a distance, the place to start is going to be with what are the things that you used to do to build school community or classroom community before we went to distance learning. I listed some examples here. They might be morning announcement, after school activities with either staff or with students, the teacher shout outs. How are we promoting teacher greatness and sharing out great teachers? Our school, something that Bridgewater is kind of known for and has slowly been spreading is Aloha Fridays. So Fridays after spring break, we start wearing Aloha shirts and Hawaiian shirts, and kind of slowly spreads around the school. And then as people have left Bridgewater, I think it's being taken to a lot of other places as well. And then maybe thank you notes. For me personally, I do a lot of thank you notes on our campus. I have a big box of them in my office, in my drawer, and I'll do a classroom observation or coaching observation, and I'll write a quick thank you note to the teacher and just say, hey, appreciate the time, and loved what I saw, something quick and easy. Or sometimes it's just because I had a great conversation with a teacher or whatever. I try to give those thank you notes. So that's something that I do. So think about what are the things that have built your school community previously. What are the things you did for your either school or classroom community before? And then what are the things that kind of define your school community? What if you think about someone saying, hey, I want to come work at your school, why should I do that? Or would you recommend working at your school, and why? What are the things that come to mind as part of the togetherness pieces of what make up your school? And then the last thing, last question you would consider in terms of where to get started are, what are some of the pain points that your teachers are having right now? Or in your case, if you're a classroom teacher, what are the pain points your students are having? So what are the things that we can address with our existing community building movements and actions? So I would like to open it up to the chat though. So I want to make sure I'm not just sitting up here talking and getting ideas, because we are better together and I would like to get those extra ideas in there. So if you could, in the chat, give me an idea of what are some things that you or your school does now to help build community. Feel free to type them on in there in the chat. I left microphones on. If you want to try to join a microphone, you can speak and share that out as well. Figured do something different this time. It's after 1 o'clock on a Thursday. It's time to try something new with my session. So, but feel free to type in the chat or jump on microphone and let me know what you are thinking. What are some things that you're doing previously to digital distance learning to build school community? Okay, thank you, Leslie. Yeah, I heard that mentioned in another session as well. Um, I love the idea of a kudos board. I really think that's a cool idea to just have a place to share it out. Um, so we talked about that in one of the other sessions about being something you could move to Padlet or Wakelet and have it available still as a link. You have your principal's corner on Canvas, so you could put a link to a Padlet or Wakelet board where any teacher could jump on and give kudos to each other. Would be something to consider. Teachers together in TikTok videos. So I have to admit, TikTok is not my strength. I've been on a couple TikTok videos, I think, but in the most part, I think it's just me walking up behind a group of students and telling them it's time to get to class. So I don't know that that's quite the point of TikTok. But that's cool. I like that you guys are doing that, taking advantage of something the students are interested in and connecting it from the school perspective. I think that's really cool. And school-age school shirts. Yep, I like that. Excellent. Motivational Monday email from one of our teachers. Oh, you have teachers take turns writing that, Lisa? I think that's neat. So a different teacher writes it a tweak. Am I understanding that correctly? Same teacher. Okay, cool. Well, either one is a cool idea. So definitely something that's easy to continue in the digital space, right? Something we can keep going. Cool. Right. Excellent. A couple more people typing, so we'll wait a second. Spirit Friday. Yeah, we're still working on how we want to continue doing our Spirit Days moving forward. Monthly treats and mailboxes might be a little bit tough right now, but I talk a little bit about something related to that actually towards the end here, Leslie. So keep an eye out. That's what we call a tease in the biz. I'm just letting you know. That's how that works. So once you kind of have an idea, kind of have an inventory of what is already happening in your school. So once we have a sort of an idea of that, then we want to think about ways that we can continue them in the digital age and distance learning age. Especially, we know that for students this is a tremendously challenging time, but it is for teachers as well. And some kind of normalcy to grab onto is going to be really important to make sure everybody gets through this and is feeling okay with the results we're trying to get to. So I think the first step we want to think about is what are the ways we can continue what we're already doing. So we talked about if you have that kudos board, you can move that to a Padlet or a Wakelet. Morning announcements is one of those things. Our principal does the morning announcements every morning, just the pledge and the moment of silence every morning on our PA. And he's known for it now. Like it's a school meme is the way he says, "Good morning, Bobcats." And I hope everyone has a great Bobcat day. It's our mascots, the Bobcats. And so he's kind of known for it. All the kids expect it and want it. Like days he's not on campus, someone else might try it and it's just never the same. And kids notice. And so it's something that's kind of known. So what we've started doing is our principal does the morning announcements on Monday mornings via Facebook Live. Actually, I'm going to show you guys real quick. The other group got a bit of a kick out of this. So we'll show you what this looks like, because this is actually something really easy. So if you are a support teacher, an instructional support, or a principal or an assistant principal, this is something really easy to be able to do. So what happens is our assistant principal starts it a little bit before 9:30, which would be our normal time, and has it going on Facebook Live. We've noticed that it's become an effective time for the parents and students to actually message back and forth on Facebook, because they can comment on the video as they're watching it and get to say, "Hey, we miss you," and some of that kind of stuff. So, and then they walk out to where it is going there. So it kind of gives you an idea. And then what he was been doing on Mondays is he will also talk about sort of just a message to parents and students as well as teachers of just, whatever might be going on, and keeping in mind, it's kind of a motivational message on a motivational Monday kind of idea as well. So that's one way to do it. If you're in the classroom, then yes, as Rachel mentioned, Canvas via Studio is another great way to record quick and easy videos for posting to your classroom page as well. So if you want to do kind of a quick welcome to Monday, welcome to Tuesday, it could be a quick minute of just your students being able to see a video of you, is a great way to sort of get things started. I know that a lot of elementary schools are doing the read aloud videos and stuff like that too. So it's another cool option there as well. The other thing you have is we have we do our regular TV production announcements. Our TV production teacher is Mr. Andrew Inches. He's awesome. He has the students producing our TV news still via remote. So they are recording on their own at their homes and then sending it in and working together to produce those announcements. So what he has them doing is twice a week on Monday and Wednesday, he does what he calls the Bobcat Blast, which are kind of just quick announcements that are just a couple quick things that the students record themselves. And then on Fridays, he releases a more full-length video as well, to kind of give you an idea of what that looks like. So kind of give you an idea. So the Bobcat Blasts are about a minute and a half on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then a more full produced news show on Fridays as well. So giving that normalcy to not only the families and stuff, but it's been nice for the teachers. And the plan going forward is actually going to be to incorporate some teacher shout outs into those morning announcements that we can include for the students and teachers to be able to see some teachers that are doing an awesome job with distance learning. Because I'm sure, first of all, if you guys are taking the time to attend sessions like this one, I'm sure you're doing awesome things, whether it be in your classroom or in your school. But also, there are a lot of other teachers out there that are doing a great job. So, and I'll talk more about how we're going to do the shout outs actually in a little bit. Another thing to keep in mind, if you have social groups that hang out, if they're, we call it 8th period in our school because we have 7 periods a day. So we have an 8th period on Friday. And on Fridays, we'll typically have a big group that goes to a restaurant nearby our school. And before we go home, we just sit, have an appetizer, and chat, and just sort of refresh, decompress for the week, and then get ready to go home and spend our weekends with our family and friends or ourselves. And so that's something we've continued, and we do those via Zoom now. So on Fridays, we have a standing Zoom meeting with our crew of teachers, and we make sure we still get a chance to see each other and hang out and talk for a little bit each week, which is something we find really important at our school. Someone else in one of the other groups mentioned that they have they're the place where lunches happen. Their room is the lunch room for either teachers or students. So I think continuing that, you could do a BBB lunch group for students if you wanted to. Just make it available to the handful of students that maybe normally eat lunch in your room, or do a lunch date with your leadership team or your PLC or your planning group, whatever that may look like at your school. And then teacher shoutouts, you have, if you're OCPS, we have the Canvas Principals Corner page, as well as the student body pages, which are both including, the student body includes all the students in your school, and the Principals Corner includes all the teachers. And you can share shoutouts of teachers doing a great job there. And of course, take advantage of your school social media, so Facebook or Instagram or whatever you might be using, all things that we're still doing now to sort of maintain normalcy. Rachel already popped in the chat, but as well, if anybody else would like to share some ideas of what they're doing in distance learning to sort of maintain normalcy, I'd love to see some of that. And yeah, Rachel, doing the morning announcements on Canvas is a great idea, especially if you're elementary and you probably don't have kids editing the video at home. That's not something to be able to do. Then that's a great idea, being able to do that. You probably could have your students recording sessions on Studio and doing small segments and then put them together yourself. Awesome. Weekly read alouds on Facebook. I like that. Leslie, I had another school yesterday. I don't remember what school it was, but yesterday someone from another school said that they have on their all students course, their student body course, they have teachers taking turns and multiple teachers putting read alouds on that page so that students can go and get the read alouds available to them from multiple different voices, multiple different people on campus, and have sort of a selection of read alouds they can watch. So, and that would be real easy to do with Canvas Studio or, just a webcam basically, and record those and put them onto the Canvas page as well. So great. I love that. Perfect. I like that. Again, maintaining normalcy, right? Like meet with your FAC virtually, excellent. And then also still emailing out the teacher shout outs. That's very, very cool. Rachel, that's cool to have the leadership team members do it. Yeah, I like that. People that the students are familiar with across the board. Excellent. All right. So something we pride ourselves on at Bridgewater is having crazy ideas and then being willing to try them. So we have some ideas here that might be new and something to try out. One of the things that is important, or one of the things that sort of I talked about kind of what are the things that make our school what it is, right? When I at the beginning, the inventory. And one of the things that we do that is part of our culture and our community now at Bridgewater is what we call Flippin' Fridays or First Fridays. And so the first Friday of every month, different subsections of our leadership team. So 1 week it might be, or 1 month it might be admin, so the principals and APs. The next month it might be instructional support, and the next one it might be the behavior modification office, whatever. We do a pancake breakfast on the first Friday of every month for our teachers. We get there early and we start cooking pancakes, and at middle school our hours work out really well because we have 8:30 is when teachers get there and 9:30 is when students start. And so from 8:30 to 9:30 or so, we have teachers come down to the media center and get fresh hot pancakes right off the griddle, and made and served by our leadership team, and helping out and just get a chance to sit around, share a meal together, and do something that is sort of for them, and appreciating all of our teachers. And we didn't want to miss out on that. So last Friday, our admin and our principal and assistant principals did drive-through pancakes for our teachers. And they set it up with just the table on the side, and they had the pancakes in to-go containers, and you drove up, you picked your kind of pancake, whether you want a chocolate chip or regular, and then you picked your syrup, and they served it out and handed it to the teacher, and off they drove. And it was a really cool opportunity to just sort of get to see each other. Even if it was just a quick drive by, you got to quickly see each other and say, hey, and we're thinking about you. And it was really, really cool. And while obviously our teachers don't all live close enough that it's feasible to drive to come pick up a thing of pancakes, a lot of ours do. But I think even those that don't, it's a sign of appreciation for something that they're doing. If you're interested, I put a link to a quick video that just sort of shows the setup of how they did that. We went through the bus loop, and teachers went the wrong way through the bus loop, so their driver's side window was at the table, and we followed the procedures for food distribution that OCPS has laid out. But it was pretty cool. It was a great way to get a chance to interact and just say hey, and just show appreciation for our teachers. So that was pretty neat, and we did that last Friday. And I forget who said it, but somebody said that their cheer committee sends out thank yous each week. So that puts little gifts in the mailboxes. That's something you could technically do a drive-through. Mandatory. The essential travel includes picking up food. So if you were going to pick up a food item from your school, then that would qualify as essential travel in my eyes. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so maybe don't quote me on that, but in general, I would say that would be justified. So it would be a great way to show some support to your teachers, and just that you recognize the work that they're doing. Another thing that we have been doing is on Fridays as well, we're doing drive-through tech support. If you're secondary, then your students have laptops that they've taken home with them, and they're having issues here and there. And the assistant principal and principal at my school, and I'm sure every other school, have been sort of overwhelmed a good bit with technology issues. So students and parents coming up to school with technology issues. So we've been doing drive-through tech support on Fridays and making that available from 11 to 1 for our parents and our students. So the plus signs there is we've done just a pop-up tent right outside the school, the front of the school, and big like tailgating style tent. We bring out lawn chairs and folding chairs and just sort of, we're all in our Hawaiian shirts because it's Aloha Fridays, and we're just, available to answer questions, help with support, swap some stuff out if we need to, and just really get a chance to sort of answer some questions. Also, Q&A would be a great thing to do as well. We have a lot of parents and students coming to the school just asking questions, not sure what to do, not sure how to handle things. So making having your principal and assistant principal available and do a drive-through Q&A day where they're, just a few hours and people can drive up, ask their questions, answer them from your safe distance away, and push them along. But it's been a great way for us to just sort of be available and make our students and parents know that we're prioritizing getting them what they need. So something we've been working on at our school. My next point was talking a little bit about just sort of levity and relaxation, laughing and joking. One easy, quick trick that works for anybody is playing music during a BBB session or an online presentation. So you can do the cheap way, and this is what my principal insists on doing, which is just like turning his cell phone on and holding it up to his microphone. It drives me crazy because the sound quality kills me. I can't stand it. But I found another really cool way to do it. So the way you guys saw, I just shared 2 videos with you earlier. There's a plus sign in the bottom left corner of BBB, and you do share an external video, and you can just paste a YouTube link in there. Well, I found out you can also paste the link to a YouTube playlist. So I searched YouTube for a playlist. So I just typed like school safe music playlist, and then I copy the link and I paste it in, and I have that running before I do any of my sessions usually. And so you're able to actually have a playlist going of just different music, and I bring the volume down, and when I'm doing office hours especially, I'll have music running through my channel, and then if someone comes in and asks a question, then I'll pause the music, help my students with whatever they need, or help the teachers with whatever they need, then start the music back up, and I have that going. And so it's a way to do that. We've done that with our staff meetings as well. The first time we did a staff meeting, so we're a large school, we have about 110 teachers, give or take. When we did our first staff meeting, which was supposed to be an hour long and really ended up being only about 30 minutes of information, we turned music on at the end, and we had about 45 teachers stay for an extra half hour just to talk in the chat and to just listen to music, hang out. A couple of them had actual questions, but for the most part, people were just hanging out, checking in, asking how each other are doing. And so we had an extra half hour of teachers just sort of hanging out and getting a chance to interact. And I think that's really critical to keep in mind, that the teachers are also looking for that connection as well. Just like we're trying to give students chances to communicate and interact, we want to make sure that we're giving teachers those as well. So that's something we've been doing a lot of. So question, Rachel, do I have any Canvas resources for parents? I don't have a ton. There's a decent amount on the digital learning page with OCPS. There's some video guides that will walk parents through how to use Canvas and how to access it as well. So yeah, distancelearning.ocps.net has some stuff that will work for parents as well. It's kind of a maybe on my to-do list in terms of videos, just because our teachers, we've been using Canvas at our school, so it hasn't been something that I've put together yet, but it is something that is on the to-do list. There's also, Canvas is a national platform, so consider there's a lot of resources that if you just Google, Canvas for parents, there's probably tons of videos on YouTube already that'll cover a lot of that things. It looks like Nicole has something to share too. Perfect. So a couple more little things, and then I'll open up to questions and suggestions. Again, I'm going to get new ideas flowing in here. So if you are used to If you are used to having those hangouts, then something that's really cool to try out is just a Zoom staff game night. If you've ever played Jackbox games, I love the Jackbox game series. There's a lot of great games in there, but you could also do this with students as sort of a extra activity, extra fun activity. If you know anybody, there's also someone mentioned one to me yesterday, Air Console. Air Console, it's called. You can play some different games via Air Console, and you can play games with either staff or with your students through BBB or Zoom or whatever you might be using for your synchronous sessions. And something to keep in mind. So that's kind of in the top right corner of that screen there. There's sort of the picture of us, a group of us hanging out and chatting. And I've done multiple different game nights recently with small groups and PLCs and stuff like that. So just chances to interact and relax and laugh a little bit, have a good time. Something to keep in mind. And then staff appreciation, we know that's something we want to just sort of directly shout out specific teachers. So we built a Google form for students and parents to access in order to say specific teachers that are really doing a great job with distance learning. So it literally just is titled "My Distance Learning Teacher is Awesome." I put the link in the chat if you want. That'll take you directly to making a copy of the Google form. If you want to use it, you just might want to change the header since you're probably not the Bridgewater Bobcats. But if you click that link, it'll let you make a copy of the form we're using. It literally is, what is the teacher's name? What are they doing that's awesome to support your learning at home? And then if they want to put their name, they can. And then I also included on mine a link to Flipgrid. And if you don't know what Flipgrid is, again, if you're doing those read alouds, this would be another cool tool for read alouds. But Flipgrid is kind of like a video message board service where anyone can, record a video, and then you can watch the videos that someone else has recorded and reply to them. It kind of organizes it almost like a message board or a forum or a discussion board. So I created the first video that just is me saying, hey, Bobcats, please share out a video of yourself thanking one of your awesome teachers and what you appreciate them for. And then we've had a handful of students go in and record their own video replies. The beautiful thing about Flipgrid is it is completely built for schools, so you can lock it down to just people in our domain. So only OCPS accounts can access the Flipgrid board and see what has been posted there. And then we can also take those videos and shout them out, share them out to the teachers directly. So 2 additional tools to share out some awesome teachers. Before we wrap up, go to questions. Any other suggestions you guys have? I'd be glad to take any other great ideas you're using now to build community from a distance, build either school or classroom community from a distance. I'd love to hear. And I had actually, here's from some of my other sessions, some ideas that other people had shared as well. This is, so Corey Grady in the middle towards the bottom there, she talked about the PE challenge of the week and then having them record them completing the PE challenge on Flipgrid. So have one of maybe your PE coaches do a recording first and then let the students try whatever they demonstrated and then do it themselves, do their own recordings. And then the virtual lunch in the library is also Corey suggested that as well. So having a BBB session as your lunchroom kind of thing, and you could play bingo or whatever else you might want to play. Oh, I really like that idea, Leslie. That's really cool. Yeah. Obviously, depending on what CDC guidelines and SPS guidelines are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But in general, I really like the idea of having that chance to get to wave goodbye and do that. Because I think, yeah, that last day kind of thing is just like a rite of passage, especially if fifth graders going to middle school and 8th graders going to high school. Awesome. Well, that is what I have for you all. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you joining me here. And if you have any questions at all, any comments, concerns, anything you want to talk about, I'm going to be hanging out for a little bit. I know, Nicole, you had one other thing you wanted to add.
Yes. So we had shared this with our media specialist, but I also wanted to drop it in here if anyone had any digital resources that they felt comfortable with or wanted to share out. We are looking for more teachers to kind of do what Brad did. And then Brad also, if he wanted to have another session, since he has so many tools under his belt to share out for the next couple of weeks as well. And, just I feel like this has been very impactful for teachers to just see other teachers doing things like this and sharing. So, if you feel confident enough to host your own Big Blue Button session and want to create your own little webinar, there's a Google form that I dropped in the chat for you to kind of fill out, and it's for the next 2 weeks actually. So we can definitely kind of work something out, and you can share out with some of your colleagues as well some of the great things that you might be doing or ideas, just like Brad did. So it's really neat. I really loved going to these sessions and attending them myself. I think it's a great way to connect with people and share all of these wonderful things that all of you guys are doing at your schools.
Great. And it's not tough. You just host a BBB session and that's pretty much it. So, and if they'll let me talk about building community, they'll let anybody talk about anything clearly. So, All right. Well, guys, if you have any questions at all, I'll be hanging out, as well as Nicole. If you need to ask her any questions, we'll be hanging out for a little bit longer, and we'll be glad to help with any of those. If you're watching the recording of this, thanks for joining me. I hope we were able to give you some information that helped out, and I hope all of you guys have a great day.